Welcome in, everybody. I'm Reed Cowan. So major news unfolding in New York today. The New York judge presiding over the Trump hush money case now delaying President-elect Donald Trump's sentencing indefinitely. So if you're keeping track, this marks the third delay in Trump's sentencing. So let's bring in political reporter Megan Messerly covering all things Trump today. It's nice to have you on CBS News 24/7. I knew your excellent work out of the state of Nevada during battleground days. It's our honor to have you here. Megan, really central to this story is the uncharted territory of how to sentence a president-elect or a president for crimes that he's been found guilty on. What informed this delay this time?
Yeah, this is exactly the central question here. So there's questions about, obviously, there's presidential immunity, but what do you do when you have a president-elect? And this is what Trump's lawyers are arguing in court. They're arguing that the presidential immunity should also be applied to President-elect Trump. And this is what the court is going to have to rule on. In the meantime, as you mentioned, sentencing has been delayed indefinitely while these questions around what to do with a president-elect are sorted out. This is kind of novel territory for a lot of folks. So we're going to have to see how it shakes out.
We are seeing a lot of novel territory. And, Donald Trump said he wanted his appointments to be disruptive. They definitely have been, especially the Trump transition team also facing the fallout of Matt Gaetz' decision to withdraw from consideration for Attorney General. So they wasted no time in finding a runner-up. Tell us about Pam Bondi and what do you know about her and perhaps how this will go into the next week of the narrative in the country.
So Pam Bondi is a former Florida Attorney General, longtime MAGA stalwart. She is well respected in Trump world. Was talking to some folks close to the president-elect last night who told me she's sort of the gold standard. They're absolutely thrilled with her pick. Probably a lot less controversial than Matt Gaetz. Obviously, folks on the left and some folks in the middle may have some concerns over, some of the background that she has, her work involved in Qatar. And so some of those questions are coming up now, but certainly nowhere near as polarizing a figure as Matt Gaetz was. And so expected to sail through much more easily than Gaetz would have. But it's really just underscoring sort of these unprecedented picks that the president-elect has made, and that he's really selecting these loyalists, folks who he can trust to execute his vision, especially in the Justice Department, which, as we know, the president-elect has had many thoughts about and would like to see wholesale change over there.
Also, they would like to see this other narrative get out of the zeitgeist, so to speak, that narrative in the incoming Trump administration that they really cannot escape, and that's the sexual assault allegations. Mr. Trump himself has faced sexual assault allegations. At least 3 of his cabinet picks face varying degrees of sexual assault allegations or misconduct allegations. Any indication if Team Trump really has a ground game to respond to this narrative so it doesn't go into day one and beyond?
It's a great question. I mean, I think we've really seen the Republican Party and the president-elect take the approach here, which is that, these are, in his eyes, good nominees. And they're arguing that, a lot of these, allegations are unfounded. And I know that some folks are waiting to see, exactly how all of this unfolds, especially Republican senators. But some of the question here is about, what it means to evaluate cabinet picks character. Some of the folks I've been talking with said, it wasn't long ago that, sort of a minor indiscretion could tank someone's chances of being confirmed. And what these misconduct allegations among several of these cabinet picks suggest is that maybe that standard that existed in the past is no longer present, and people are viewing these picks in a different way. A lot of folks are looking at these picks and saying, the president-elect, these are his choices. He has the right to select who he wants, and who are we to question his picks? If this is who he wants, then this is who we're going to confirm. And so that's, I think, the battle we're going to see play out coming up here in the Senate.
Well, you also have reporting, we understand, on another controversial cabinet pick, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., especially as it relates to anti-abortion groups. What's his pre-confirmation strategy here?
So he's really working to allay some of the concerns among social conservatives and anti-abortion groups about his abortion record. He's called himself pro-choice in the past. When he ran for president before endorsing President-elect Trump, he took sort of a varying degree of positions on the issue. And so folks are kind of uncomfortable with his record on abortion on the right. And so we've really seen this effort to try to allay some of those concerns. What anti-abortion groups are pushing for is they want someone who is an anti-abortion stalwart in a top position in the Department of Health and Human Services. One of their top choices, however, has been rejected by the Trump transition team as being a little too anti-abortion. And so this is where we're really seeing the president-elect craft a novel path here for the Republican Party, and not taking perhaps as strident an approach on the abortion issue, an issue that dogged him on the campaign trail over the last year and a half. And so this is really sort of when push comes to shove, and we're going to see how the Republican Party is going to, chart a path forward on this issue moving forward.
Megan Messerly, my former Nevada battleground reporter friend, it's nice to see you. If we didn't have more weighty matters to talk about, I would ask you two questions. How do you get Garland to look so good on a mirror, and how do you hang those New Yorker prints so perfectly, so symmetrically? That's for another day, but I hope I get to have more conversations with you here on CBS News 24/7. Have a great holiday ahead.